Good evening, everyone. Good evening. You have tuned in to another episode of Transcending Horizons broadcast. And I am so happy to have our guest on tonight. She is so super phenomenal, has an amazing testimony that she is going to share a bit of. Um, Hello, good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And so you understand that Transcending Horizons broadcast, what we do each and every time is we develop and we deliver customized winning strategies. Even my guests bring on winning strategies that will help you to optimize your potential and to soar beyond the limits in both business and life. So we have a super phenomenal guest that is going to be concentrating on the life aspect. And so this is going to be phenomenal. Get your pen and your paper so that you are able to take notes to refer to the strategies that she's really going to give you as it concerns relationships. And so she is on here. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on camera. Gina Lusardi. Let's see here. And so, good evening, everyone. Let's see. Adding. Awesome. Awesome. And so, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on tonight, on this evening. There she is.
I'm here.
Hi.
How are you?
How wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I'm
Thank
doing
you
great. It's
so very
beautiful
much.
outside. You can't it's beautiful, so you can't be in a bad mood on this day.
Oh, awesome. It's been a nice day here as well. And so, thank you so much again for joining us here
Thank you
on
for having me.
Transcending Horizons broadcast. I have truly enjoyed the couple of times that we have spoken. And, I am really ready to share with our audience, with our viewers about you, about your testimony, about the strategies that you want to share with our audience. We want to get right into it. So why don't you go
Great.
ahead and greet the people and tell a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get right into your topic.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me first off. My name is Gina Kendall Lusardi, and I am the founder and CEO of a company called Speak Out, Get Out, Stay Out. What we do is we help domestic abuse victims go from abuse to abundance. I know from personal experience because I grew up in a domestic abuse household as a child, and
Mm-hmm.
like most children of abuse, I found myself in not one but two abusive marriages.
Mm,
And this is before there was the internet, so I had to figure out a way for me to break that cycle on my own. It
mm,
took me until I was 28 years old to finally break free for good. And then I
mm,
spent the next 10 years raising my daughter and trying to figure out who I was as a person because I didn't know.
mm,
Um, and that's one of the things with, unhealthy relationships. It takes who you are as a person and totally just wipes that slate clean.
mm. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that background, and I know that it has to be difficult to even, talk about those things,
Yeah,
because although I've never experienced any physical abuse, abuse is abuse nonetheless. And I know
absolutely.
that there are different levels of abuse,
Yeah,
as far as the intensity. And I believe that they all leave different scars. And I believe that everyone responds to them differently. Nonetheless, I believe that what you said is it really is an attack on our identity, whether
yeah,
it's domestic, physical abuse, emotional abuse, whatever it is, molestation, rape, all of those things is an attack on our identity. And there are so many different effects that can happen, including, like you said, you were a product of growing up in a domestic violence home, and you still subjected yourself to relationships of the same thing, and you're saying that that's normal, um
yeah,
for
yeah.
okay.
That's what I knew,
Mhm,
and that was my norm. So I didn't know that that was not how relationships were supposed to be
mhm,
until I got older, and I just told myself that something's not right here. This is not what I see, like my friends at work or other people in my family going through. So I knew something wasn't right,
mhm,
um, but I didn't know what right was.
mhm,
So I had to figure that out. I through counseling, because I did do some counseling. Um, but the biggest thing was you have to remove yourself from that abusive situation, that unhealthy relationship, so that you have that time for your body, your soul, your emotions to heal.
mhm. And so tonight you're going to talk to us about red flags.
Hmm.
You're going to talk to us about unhealthy relationships. And so I want you to kind of walk us through this process. We can talk and take the whole show about all of the ugly of it, and we know that there are so many different things that of how we are impacted, or
Hmm.
people have been impacted by these abuses. And I think it's important that people walk away equipped with some information that will help them to identify maybe some things in a current relationship, or even equip them to be able to walk forward in future relationships.
Right, right. Um, well, we all get into relationships thinking that this is the one. This is my knight in shining armor. We don't go into a relationship thinking that it's going to end badly or
Mhm.
with them mistreating you, with it just being unhealthy, toxic, anything like that. We go into it with our rose-colored glasses on, and that's normal. That's that endorphin in us that is producing that.
Mhm.
And but it's important that you know what a healthy relationship is, to know what some of the early red flags are, because there are always early red flags. And if you catch them early enough, you can either address them or you can remove yourself from the situation before it becomes, unhealthy.
Mhm.
So some of the things that you should look out for as far as, red flags in the beginning: jealousy.
Mhm.
Are they jealous of your friends, your family? Do they tell you, well, I know your mom don't like me, or I know your dad don't like me? Do they pick at stuff? Are they always calling you and texting you when you're gone? Hey, I just wanted to check up on you, see what time you're coming home. what are you doing, who you hanging out with. And sometimes it seems like, oh, well, they care. They're just doing this because they care. They want me to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fine line, because if you are in a situation that is unsafe, well, that's one thing. But if it is compiled with other things such as the jealousy, um, where they are always talking about like their ex, how crazy their ex was.
Mm.
You see people who talk about how crazy their ex was, those are
Right.
the people that usually drove their ex crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to watch out for that stuff. Um, and I always say to look at their family,
Mm-hmm.
look at how their family dynamics are. Because if they're in a family where there is lack of respect for the females in the family,
Mm-hmm.
or if your partner doesn't respect their mom or their grandma, or cuss at them or talk about them badly, stuff like that, those are major red flags that you need to be aware of.
Wow.
Because if they're going to do that about their mom,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do it about you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I want to talk a bit about, you brought up jealousy, and I've heard these things in talking about, isolating you.
Yes.
And I want to point out the fact that we're really not just speaking of romantic relationships. We
Hmm.
want you to look at all and survey, really look at all of your relationship dynamics, because
Absolutely.
you could even have that, in a friendship. A
Hmm.
person can become very possessive of
Yes.
you, and wanting you to only be friends with them, or only spend time with them, or what are you doing. It can
Right.
really be something that can be very taxing on you, or even try to monopolize your time,
Hmm.
or try to break up your other relationships. You may have other friends, you may have, your lover or your husband or whoever. You may have someone, and they may start to nitpick at those long time relationships, or those relationships of the other people that are around you. And
Absolutely.
so I think that it's important that we, point out that this is not just in romantic relationships, but this
Hmm.
can be a dynamic in any relationship.
Oh yeah, even among like family members, you could have like a sister, or if you're close to your brother or whatever, it could be that part. We've all had, when we were in school, that one friend that would get mad and say, well, if you talk to her, I'm not going to be your friend no more. We've all
Hmm.
had that friend.
Yes.
So that's where you're going. That's that line there. They're trying to control you and to monopolize you. And if you don't just be their friend, then they're gonna punish you
Hmm.
for going out and having other friends,
Yes.
or they'll talk about you to that friend to try to get that friend mad at you, so they'll stop talking to you.
Hmm.
It's a lot of pettiness, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, that is how relationships go.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and those are the unhealthy relationships, and that's why it's so important to educate people of what unhealthy is, but also to let them know what a healthy relationship looks like, because maybe they don't even know what a healthy relationship looks like.
So do you want to give us maybe, a couple of, because we want to, be able to equip people with some information that they are able to identify when they are in a healthy relationship, because some people have been around dysfunction and have been
Hmm.
exposed to dysfunction for so long that they think that it is normal, and so
Absolutely.
they are actually comfortable in the dysfunction, the unhealthy relationship, and they think
Hmm.
that that it's something wrong with it if it is going in a positive manner, or
Yes,
Or
yes, they
if
try
the
to
person,
sabotage it.
yeah, if the person isn't calling them 10 times, and like maybe they really don't like me, or,
Yeah,
they didn't
exactly.
even, they didn't check on me, or they don't care who I'm with, and they're okay
Hmm.
with me going out with other friends. And so they
Right.
think that, that maybe this person really doesn't, like me at all, when
Hmm.
that's actually the signs of a healthy relationship. That person is actually secure within themselves. They're
Yep.
not a jealous person. They don't mind sharing you with other people.
Hmm. Yes,
But,
exactly.
someone who has been exposed to the dysfunction, they think, this is crazy. So
Yeah,
tell us about, some characteristics of what would be healthy.
of course. A healthy relationship, like you said, it's where they give you your space. They don't have to be with you at all times, monopolizing your
Hmm.
time. Um, they are secure in themselves into what they do. They trust. That's a big thing because if you're in an unhealthy relationship, trust is not high on the list. So when they're not texting you and they're not calling you or checking up on you or stalking you, it's because they trust you as a person. So that's a big
Hmm.
one, trust.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Uh, Compromise. It has to be a two-way street. Any relationship has to be two ways. If they are always trying to have it their way, or if you're always trying to have it your way, then that's a friction. So
Hmm.
when you guys can compromise on something, when your partner can compromise with you, like, okay, if you don't want to go there, then let's go somewhere else.
Hmm.
That's a good one. Also, they allow you to have friendships. You should have friendships outside of any relationship. It's healthy for you. It gets you out of the house and among your friends. And
Hmm.
it helps you be a better person to refill, your vessel so that you can pour into your relationship with them or your relationship with anybody.
Hmm.
Also, things like love and reliability. Are they reliable? Can you count on them, or are they going to just tell you something but break that promise?
Mm.
So, reliability, responsibility. Are they responsible? That's a sign of a healthy relationship. They do what they say they're going to do.
Hmm.
Same with you. You should do what say you're going to do for them.
Absolutely.
It's important also that you two have your own interests and you let them have their interests. Don't call and check on them a million times. They don't have to call and check on you a million times if you're, I don't know, if you do baseball or softball or whatever. It's okay for you to do that and to have that camaraderie with the people on your team without feeling like you're going to get in trouble if you talk to one of the guys on the team, or they shouldn't feel like they're going to get in trouble if they talk to one of the girls on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so all that's very, very important. You need to have your own space. You need to respect them. They need to respect you. That's a big thing
Yes.
because without the trust and the respect, you don't have anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so very much. Those were some really powerful points. And I guess you had to learn these things over time.
Yes.
Tell me, I'm just interested in that shift, that 10 years on reset, in finding your identity after all of the trauma, being able to look at things from another perspective.
Right.
Um, how was there a process that you used for that? That you could say was their methodology? What was something that, or could you give us maybe two or three consistent things that you made sure that you did during that 10 years? We'll call it a reset.
Sure. The most important or the most valuable thing for me was alone time so that I can actually sit down and it could be quiet so that I could hear myself think. I can hear what my intuition was telling me and that I could hear what God was telling me
Mm.
as to what I was supposed to do, how it was supposed to be. I had to learn to love myself again. And in order for me to love myself again, because I didn't know what that was. So I read a lot of self-help books. I made sure that I surrounded myself with positive people who had, the best for me. They wanted the best for me.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to stay away from negative people. I tried to stay away from places that were negative.
Mm-hmm.
I also tried my best to show my daughter the things that I didn't know. And it may sound weird, but I figured if this is what I knew and it was wrong, then the opposite is what I was supposed to show her.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking, is that you just took what you were experiencing or what you had experienced and looked at the other side of the
Yeah,
coin.
flipped it.
You
Yeah,
flipped it. And so you looked at what was negative and say, okay, well, this must be the positive. Because although
yes,
you went through counseling, this was still something that you had to deal with every day. And
yeah,
so I
inner
want
work.
to, I definitely want to talk about the fact that, um, this is not a one and done. This is not, okay, go and take Gina's list, because Gina has some great things on this list and she's given us some great information. And I'm going to look, this is going to be 30 days and I'm out. We're going to go through this 90-day program and my mind is changed forever. you know
No.
this is, talk to me about that, the process and growing through it. I always talk about, you could go through something and it's important not just to go through it, but you
Uh-huh.
have to be able to grow through the process, and that in that growth there's a transformation that takes place. And so with the process, in your growth, what would you say to someone who may be still experiencing some of those effects? Maybe they are out of their unhealthy relationship, of their domestic violence, or whatever it was that they were experiencing.
Right.
Maybe they are out. What would you say to them about this process?
The first thing I would say to them is it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what it is. It's going to take time. You have to give yourself time to feel the loss, to feel, your relationship died, part of you died. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to mourn that. You can't try to push it under the rug, because if you push it under the rug, it will come back out and bite you in the butt. So
Oh.
you have to go through this. You
Mm.
have to feel. Um, and
You
then
know what? I'm gonna pause you right there.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pause you right there, because I realized not too long ago, and this is different, and this is dealing with my son, but I had realized that for a long time I wasn't allowing myself to feel. And
Yes.
what I understand is this, is that when you go through any trauma, now I understand this on the other side of the
Hmm.
revelation that I got about 6 weeks ago, 6 to 8 weeks ago, um, of another level. It took me to another level of healing, in with my son. And so what I understand is that we that sweeping under the rug is really saying, I'm going to go numb in this area, and
Yes.
and I'm not going to allow myself to feel. And if I
Yes.
don't allow myself to feel, listen to this, Gina, there's no way I can heal.
That is exactly
There's
true.
no way I can heal.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Facing it,
Yes.
facing it, in staring at it in the face, and letting the emotions come, letting the tears come, and opening up that womb again,
Mhm.
that wound again,
Yeah.
to allow all of the poison really to come out. So
Mhm.
talk to me more about that. I'm sorry, I had to
Oh, you're okay.
pause you because it sounded so familiar, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to point that out, that that must be the experience of someone who has gone through trauma, is they won't allow themselves to feel.
Yeah. Um and recently, probably within the last 6 months, I had come to, like you said, an epiphany that all of my life I was trying to guard that little girl that was hiding inside,
Mm,
that saw all the trauma, right? Her feel the pain.
mm-hmm,
But the thing is, she was in there, but she was still poisoning me from the inside out,
mm,
because that pain that was there poisoned every relationship that I was ever in,
mm,
even with my own daughter, until I sat down and I did the work to go inside and go, okay, I need to feel this. I need to cry. I need to be mad.
mm-hmm,
I need to feel sad. I need to figure out what am I going to do next, because I do not want to stay here.
mm. Woo.
So I had to sit down and I literally had to write a list of, this is what I want my life to be,
Mm.
and then figure out how am I going to get there.
Wow.
And that's
Mm,
where I had to say, taking care of me and figuring out who I was as a person, because I didn't know, was not selfish. It is not selfish to try to heal yourself. It
mhm.
is not selfish to take care of you.
Wow.
It's actually selfless, because when you're whole, then you can give your whole heart and your whole love and your whole soul to others, to God, to the world. Because
Mm.
until that's done, you're just giving pieces of yourself to
Mm.
all these different areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gina, I'm telling you, I got chills right now. And I'm about to fight back some tears in point
It's okay.
five
Oh,
seconds.
it's okay.
You know, that is so, so very true. And everybody on here and people that will go back and listen, you need to hear everything. And if this wasn't recorded, I would have her to repeat it. But it's no need, because you can go back and listen to it. So we're just gonna move forward. But
Okay.
people really need to, you gotta let that sink in. It's not selfish for
Absolutely not.
you to take care of you. You owe it to you first. You
Yes.
owe it to you first, and you owe it to everyone around you, and you owe it to God, so that he can use you. Because listen,
Yeah.
if we are, just this shell, and we don't even allow ourselves, I think that people go through life in this pain and filled with this poison, and they're
Hmm.
just functioning. They're on autopilot, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they do
That's exactly it.
autopilot very, very well. They go to work, they
Hmm.
come home, they do they take care of all of their responsibilities. they're
Yep.
they're they're the husband, the wife, they're the mother, they're everything, they're the employee, and they're just operating, they're functioning
They're
at
functioning.
but they're functioning at a very high level, because a lot of times they're functioning out of their gift, right? And so
Hmm.
we know that the gift that God gives us, the gifts, is without repentance. And so we really can, hey, if you could sing, you could sing, right? So you come to this
Yep.
earth and you have a gift to sing, You see, they start singing,
Yeah.
very,
Every,
very young. You just have it, right?
yeah, I think every soul is put on this earth with their gift already in
Mhm.
them when they're born.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
We are already equipped with the gifts that God has already given us. So those
Hmm.
gifts have a purpose. But here's what I want to say about it is people can function even with their gifts at a very high level. If we
Hmm.
look at people like Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson and what's the comedian Robin, uh
Robin Williams.
yeah, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
These people were dealing with deep seated pain,
Hmm.
deep seated pain. It was poisoning them. And
Absolutely.
and so and that's evident in how they lived their lives and in how they left here. um and so we want you to live. We want you to truly live and
Yeah.
experience life. Here was the epiphany, and here was the revelation like 6 weeks ago for me. And that was, Tylisha, you need to experience life. You're doing all these things. Yeah, you're running your business, you're a poet, you're doing, you're moving and shaking, you're functioning at a high level. I mean, hey, you had all A's and A plus in your doctorate, degree. I mean,
Right.
all of these things, right? Um, those are gifts. God gave, I came here with that out, So but that doesn't mean that I am experiencing life, that I'm truly, truly
Hmm.
living the abundance. So we have a few more minutes, and what I want you to talk to us about, because you said that you help people go from abuse, right?
Right.
To abundance. And
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about with that living, that experiencing life. And actually, because when we talk about that, we have to really be real with ourselves. Because see,
Hmm.
it's really not for Gina and I to sit here and show you all of what's on the inside of us or what we've gone through. It's for us to equip you so that you can, and show you the mirror, hand
Yeah.
you a mirror so that you can look at yourself and begin to work on you and coming to that place of wholeness, that place of fruitfulness, and living that abundant life. So let's
Hmm.
let's give them that piece. And if you have another final point that you didn't get to touch on, if you could give them that as well, and then we'll wrap up with what you have to offer them.
Okay. Um, yes, it is very important that because I could sit here and you could sit here and we can talk and talk and talk, but until they take a look at themselves and hold themselves accountable and ask themselves the hard questions and actually answer those honestly, they're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to keep being that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. I've been there to not only leave a bad relationship, but to stay out of that bad relationship
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much, you know, self-worth issues or self-esteem issues or financial issues or, you know, your mom's telling you you need to go back, whatever. But you have to start with looking at where the gaps in your soul, in your heart are, so that you know where you need to work to fill them.
Mm-hmm.
Because until you fill those, you're always going to deal with this pain. It's always going to be there. You may, like you said, you may be functioning, but you're not surviving. You're not thriving in life. You're
Mm-hmm.
just going through the motions.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you take that inner work and also do what's called mindset work. Why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? Start questioning things in your life. Look at it from a different direction, like I did. Turn that penny around and look at it from the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, it's important that you have boundaries
Mm-hmm.
in any relationship. Boundaries are like a fence around your heart, and you only let in the people that are good for you, that's going to take care and nurture that heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important that you set boundaries for what you're willing to put up with and what you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to have a list of things that in any relationship you're not going to put up. We know the disrespect, the mistrust, the feeling trapped. These are things that you're not going to deal with, and that you have to be okay with that, and you have to be okay with walking away if that person is making you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's really important. And as
So
far
set
as
the boundaries and keep them. That's the
yes,
key, right?
yes,
Because
yes,
sometimes we set the boundaries and then we move them, right? So that they
right.
become, with they're flexible
The
boundaries,
the line kind of gets blurred.
Yeah, it gets blurred. And so setting the boundaries of what you are willing to put up with, because listen, God gave us grace and mercy.
Hmm.
You were going to give people grace, space, and room to grow. You do, if you are looking to walk with them, right, through
Yes,
life, you know, and you're walking with them, and they're working through some things, and knowing that there's no perfect people on this earth
yes,
ever. And so, but there are some boundaries that are hard and fast, right?
yes,
There's some ones that mercy, grace, and mercy don't work for. If you
right.
put your hands on me,
Yeah,
that's a boundary. You just
yeah.
cross that, right?
Even
And
God put boundaries. They're called commandments. You
yeah,
know, don't
absolutely.
don't break these boundaries. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so having an understanding that there are some things that are non-negotiables,
Yes.
and that's not something that you want to subject yourself to. and
Yes.
and like I said, we need to look at this in every single relationship. We really
Hmm.
need to look at it, and then we also need to look at ourselves to make sure that you're not the offender.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because a lot of times we can listen to broadcasts like this and like, yep, uh-huh, yes, I know, and you can name all. You probably got a long list, and but have you looked at any of your own actions?
Right.
Have
Yeah. You forget to put
you,
your name on the list.
right, have you been the perpetrator?
Hmm.
Have you been the controlling one in the
Yes.
relationship? Have you been the jealous one in the relationship? You know,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Because that goes both
it's
ways.
absolutely. So, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror. We have to look at
Hmm.
ourselves in the mirror. So, thank you so much. Are there any final thoughts, anything that you want to give the people? A big takeaway, or if they didn't hear you say anything else, you want them to hear you say this. So,
Yes.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
say.
I want to say that you are worth diamonds,
Mm,
and that you have the right to be selfless, to
mhm.
take time for yourself, and you have the right to be respected and treated like a queen or a king,
Yes,
because that is who you are. You are the child of God,
yes,
and you should expect to be treated that way and not cower to somebody who is going to treat you less.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so very much. Please
Yeah, thank
tell the
you.
people about your business. Tell the people how they can get in touch with you. Tell the people what you have coming up, whatever books, anything that you have that you want the people to have access to, and then give them how they can reach out to you. your contact information, if you would, please.
Okay. My website is www.speakoutgetoutstayout, all one word, .com. On there, we have free resources that you can download. Things like a healthy relationship quiz, an escape plan, 10 signs that you're in an unhealthy relationship, just a lot of different things on there. There's also a shop tab on there where you can get my download my book. It is called When Happily Ever After Doesn't Happen, Breaking the Cycle of Abuse. I also have a 5-day email course that will take you from doing the healthy relationship quiz to see if your relationship is toxic or unhealthy. And it walks you all the way through to planning your escape, leaving, rebuilding yourself, and how to stay out of that relationship for good,
Mm.
stay out of all abusive relationships for good. So we have that on there. My email address is speakoutgetoutstayout@gmail.com. I am also on Facebook. I am on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube, and all those links are on my website.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you being on, and you were absolutely phenomenal, very clear, and I really, really appreciate you sharing your story, and I know that you can help so many people. Um, you know, like, let's get that, pull that carpet up, pull the rug
Yeah,
up, because you want to be whole, you want to live
absolutely.
an abundant life, you want to come to that place of wholeness and wellness in your mind, in your emotions, so that you truly can be fruitful and
Hmm.
multiply, right? That's our first commandment. Be fruitful and multiply. So we want
Yeah.
to be fruitful, and we want to make the impact that we were sent here to make. We want to manifest our purpose and our destiny in this earth, and not keep stopping. And you don't know why you keep quitting, and you don't know why you can't stay on task, and you don't know why you can't stay focused. These are all things that are symptoms of having poison floating in your soul and in your spirit,
Yeah.
that undealt with issues. So
Yeah.
we need to deal with our issues, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And do the work, like like Gina said, do the work, do the soul work, the heart work, you know
Yep. It's
and
it's not easy, but
the mental
believe
work,
me, oh, it's amazing once you get through it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I thank you for living through it. I thank
Thank
you
you.
for growing through it. I
Yes.
thank
Thank
you
you.
for going through it. And I thank you for sharing with the world. I truly, truly thank you. And so you have tuned in to Transcending Horizons broadcast, and you know how to reach me. I'm at www.transcendinghorizonsent.com. Again, www.transcendinghorizonsent.com. If you have a story, if you have a testimony, if you have something to share where it will help people to optimize their potential and soar beyond the limits in business and life, please email me, reach out to me, inbox me, and I will be glad to speak with you first. And we will see whether you are in alignment with what this broadcast is all about, which is definitely being able to help people get beyond every single limitation and truly, truly soar. And if you have a business, you can reach out to me, right? Or if you need help in you're having some life challenges, or you need help with life strategies, maybe you're a mompreneur, a wifepreneur, I'm able to help you as well with that. I can give you life strategies as well as business strategies. Anyway, you should make sure that you contact me and come soar with us. Thank you so much. God bless. Love you. Bye bye.